Hey babes! Welcome to the Happiness Heals channel. My name is Miss T. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. Today we're doing a budget with me as I put together my estimated payday budget for my upcoming paycheck on August 7th, 2020. I'm going to put in my pay date. We're going to start off by looking at my estimated income. So my income will be my paycheck, and I estimate that to be $2,914.63, as well as my savings amount for $50. Any rollover funds I may have. Right now, I'm estimating 0, just because I like to count how much I have in rollover funds on my actual payday. Those are my estimated sources of income for this pay period, so I'm going to add it up. So my estimated income is $2,964.63. And then we're going to jump down to bills. So for bills, I want to look at any bills that I plan to pay starting on August 7th until my next payday on the 21st. So let me see what those are, and I'm going to refer back to my August budget calendar for that. So I have this peach color to signify all bills being paid with this paycheck. I know now that my household bill will be $689 for my portion. So I have 2 more bills I want to add on here. I have a medical bill, KKI, and that is due on the 10th for $30. And then I also have my Credit One annual fee monthly. I really don't need to pay it until September, but I want to go ahead and get it out of the way. And that is $15.83. Yes, $15.83. Okay, and so these are my estimated expenses for my upcoming payday. Now, some things that I also have on here are hotel expenses for taking my daughter to campus. That situation is still very fluid, so I'm not really sure exactly what those expenses will be, or if I'll have expenses for that. So I'm not going to include that in my budget right now. I do have a backup plan to tap into my savings if I need to in order to take care of this, rather than trying to figure it out with my budget. If I have a more firm plan by my payday, then I may also include those expenses as well. So for right now, these are all of the expenses that I have, that I'm aware of for my upcoming payday and upcoming paycheck. So I'm going to add up my estimated bill total. $787.99. Now, if you're new to my channel, you may be saying, why are you putting everything in the budgeted column? And I like to explain my method a little bit. Unlike the Budget Mom, my method is a little bit different, and it's more customized to what works best for me. I don't like crossing out and changing things around a lot with my budget, so I normally make an estimated budget a week before my payday, and I use my budget column to come up with that. And then on my actual payday, I come back and I adjust anything that needs to be added, subtracted, increased, decreased. Any final adjustments become an actual budget that I put in the actual column. And then when I have things actually post to my account, I'll show you my last paycheck. When things actually post out of my accounts, then I highlight them to show that they actually have posted to my account. So there are some things actually that have posted even here that I have not highlighted yet, but normally when I go back and reconcile my budget, I'll do that. I'll look at everything that is actually posted to my bank account, and then I'll highlight it to show that it came out of my funds. And I don't necessarily worry about doing that for my variable expenses, simply because they change and fluctuate throughout the pay period. So I normally worry about bills, sinking funds, extra debt, and extra savings in terms of making sure that those funds get to where they're supposed to be and are allocated as I've indicated in my budget. That is the difference with my budget. The other thing is that I tend to deal with sinking funds, extra debt, and extra savings before I deal with my variable expenses. But before I move to that step, let me figure out what I have left over after my bills. So I take my income, 2,964.63, minus my bills, 787.99, and that leaves me with $2,176.64. Now, knowing that that is what I estimate to have left over, okay, so now I'm going to jump over to sinking funds, and in this category, I'm going to be adding to Christmas 2020. I'm also going to start adding to my daughter's sinking fund for her college expenses, or it's more or less, it's not for college expenses, it's more or less for me to be able to continually provide her with an allowance, so to speak, while she's at school, or to have money set aside so I'm not tapping into my savings or other funds in order to make sure she has what she needs. So I'm going to start saving for that on a regular basis. And then my car insurance is a big one, pet expenses, membership, travel, car maintenance, which I don't actually think I'm going to worry about car maintenance this pay period. I don't think I'm going to worry about that. I do want to start adding to my business sinking fund. So I do have a couple of things I do want to purchase for my business by the end of the month. My Be Happy fund. I haven't contributed to that in a while, and I need to. So those are the sinking funds that I plan to include for this pay period. And for Christmas 2020, I want to set aside $120. Also for my daughter, I'm going to set aside $60. For car insurance, I want to set aside $800. I may have to adjust that depending on certain things. Pet expenses, I want to set aside $40 for that. Memberships, $25. Travel, let's see, let me come back to travel. Business, I want to set aside $50 for that. Be Happy fund, I want to set aside $50 for that. Travel, I'll say $100 for that. For sinking funds, let me add up what my estimated total will be, and that is $1,245. I'm not going to add anything to extra debt. I'm jumping down to extra savings. For extra savings, I have my checking cushion, savings cushion, emergency fund, and savings challenges. For my checking cushion and savings cushion, the difference is one is for my checking account, one is for my savings account. The savings account supports the savings cushion supports the checking cushion. As a person who has a history of overdrafts and has eliminated and cut out that security net, I like to have extra layers of funds so that I never get to the point of ever having to overdraft again. So I have a checking cushion that basically supports my checking account so that it doesn't get to zero. Then I also have a savings cushion in the event that it ever does get to zero. That will kick in and replenish my checking cushion. And then I also have my emergency fund, and I try to reserve that for true emergencies or really big purchases or unexpected expenses. And so that's in a totally separate account, and I really try not to have to touch it unless it's something big. And then savings challenges are the different challenges that the budget mom comes up with every month that I like to participate in as well. So for my checking cushion, I'm going to estimate $50. My savings cushion, I'll also estimate $50. My emergency fund, I will estimate $100. And then for savings challenges, let me see what the August challenge is. I know I really didn't do the July one. It just wasn't that applicable to me. And I think I can participate in this month's savings challenge because I do now have 3 cash envelopes that I use. So I'm going to estimate $55 for that. That may change, and if it does, I will make that adjustment on my actual payday. So those are my extra savings, and the total estimated saving is 50 plus 50 plus 100 plus 55. $255. So then I take my leftover amount and subtract out my sinking funds, extra debt, and extra savings, which gives me what I have left for variable expenses. So let's take $2,176.64 minus sinking fund total, 1,245, minus extra savings, 255. That leaves me with $676.64. So now I have $676.64 for my variable expenses. That is a very small budget. But the one good thing is that this pay period is also the one where my daughter is going off to school. So it might actually work out for being a smaller budget. I might be able to make it work. Not totally sure, but we're going to see. I have groceries, dining out, medical, pet, gas, car wash, charity, ash storm. That's why it's not going to work out. I'm just thinking about that. That is not going to work out. Okay. Miscellaneous and shopping. Though I don't think actually, instead of shopping, I really would like to add here beauty. Because I have not had my nails done since before COVID-19, and I really would like to get my nails done. Knowing that I have $676.64, I can already say that is too little. I'm going to make an adjustment by taking another 600. Actually, I'm going to take 200 away from this car insurance sinking fund, and that will then bring that down to 1,045, and then that will increase this one to $876. And that is still honestly kind of small considering all that we need to cover this pay period. But the good thing is, I know my daughter has fewer medical expenses. I don't think I have anything to cover for the pet. So a lot of my other expenses will be going down. So the one thing I know for certain is car wash and gas. We're keeping our regular budget of $40 for that. Yes, that may be increased from our road trip, but I've been saving in my travel envelope, so I really plan to use my travel sinking fund to cover gas and any expenses on our road trip up to my daughter's school. I'm going to keep my regular budget for gas, car wash. For charity, I'll keep my $20 typical budget for that. For pet, I don't think I have anything coming up for him in August during that pay period, so I'm going to say 0. If I need something, I'll tap into a sinking fund. Also for medical, actually I don't have any expenses set up for that either. Dining out, I want to set aside, oh, this is looking better than I thought actually now that I look at it. Okay, so I want to set aside $120, and then also $120 for groceries. Beauty, I want to set aside $120 for that. And then for Ashley's dorm, I'm going to actually set aside $400 because there is quite a bit that we still need to get, and I want to make sure she has it all, which would then leave me with $56.64 in terms of miscellaneous. So let me add that up. Yes, that is it. Let me now zero out my budget. So I start off with my income, $2,964.63, minus my bill total, minus $787.99. Leaves me with $2,176.64. And I'll bring that down to the leftover row of my variable expenses, $2,176.64, minus my variable expenses. Leaves me with $1,300. I'll bring that up to sinking funds leftover row, and then I take the leftover amount here, subtract out my sinking funds, which leaves me with $255. And then I'll bring that down to extra debt because I still want to count that category even though I don't have anything there, which leaves me with $255. I'll bring that down to the leftover row and extra savings, $255, minus my extra savings total, $255. I'm left with 0. I want to just cover a couple of things about this pay period. One, my household expenses are so low, as I mentioned earlier, because I split them with my boyfriend, and we basically add up all of our household expenses and pet expenses and divide it in half. And thankfully this month things are a lot lower because we covered a lot more last month. So that is low for that particular purpose. I mentioned credit one, my credit card, it's actually paid off. But what I noticed is they built in a monthly payment towards the annual fee. And so even though I've been paying it off each month, I still get a minimal payment to cover that. And then I also have Netflix coming out on that card as well. So between the two of those, I'm paying a balance of $15.83, which I don't mind because my balance in the past was astronomically crazy. And I'm thankful that I've been able to pay that off. In my sinking funds, car insurance is so much because I really have a payment due toward the end of August, and I had saved up from January until July to really cover that amount. I would have easily covered that amount, but then I had a settlement payment come up and I had to use those funds towards that. So I'm literally starting from scratch with my car insurance, and I need to get that balance covered by August 24th of this month. So I'm really going to be pulling as much as I can, even if I have leftover funds from this pay period, into that balance to make sure that it gets paid. I'm not covering any extra debt this pay period because I'm putting extra funds towards my daughter's college transition, and I'm setting aside such a significant amount for that because she has quite a few things on the list that we need to have for her dorm room and just for her to be settled. I really want to make sure I have adequate funds to cover those things. So I hope that gives you a little more insight in terms of how I came up with my estimated budget. As I mentioned, by my payday, it could very well change again. And I just like to really go back, rethink everything that I want to cover, and am I making sure that I'm putting funds in the right places and towards my priorities. With my payday budget, which you'll see when I do my cash envelope stuffing as well, I will make any final adjustments to this budget and this particular pay period. So I hope this video was helpful, as well as some of the backstory as to how I came up with my numbers in certain cases. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you'll be informed the very next time we have something to share on the Happiness Heals channel. Ciao!